Alright guys, so today we're going to be talking about analyzing questions. This isn't one of the typical ones that we normally talk about, so when we're going over a subject or something like that. Instead we're going to decide to look at different types of questions that we get when we're done reading the stories, so that you guys can figure out what's the best way to answer them when we're actually going through the stories. And after we read stories, you'll know the different types of questions and then the best way to answer it so you can make sure that you get them right. You don't need your computer, so if you want to, you can go ahead and close those. Alright, so before we get started, everyone already has their notebook out and everything like that. If you want to, I'll give you guys a second to go ahead and set those up for Cornell Notes. Guess what? You didn't answer? No, set them up in your notebook because you want to be able to keep those notes. I'm going to take that paper up, but I want you to be able to keep the notes. Yeah, just one sheet of notebook paper, because you'll need that in a few minutes once we go through these. And don't worry about the essential question yet, because I have that on the slide for you guys, and we'll copy all that down in a second, but I want you to go ahead and set those notes up so that we can, Oh, I'm going to give it to you in a second. I'm going to the next slide. Or one of the upcoming slides. Yeah, that's fine.
Is this starting?
Yes. Alright, does everybody have their notes set up? Alright, I'll give you about 30 more seconds for the Cornell notes. Keep in mind you shouldn't have an essential question written down yet. Alright, about 15 more seconds for the Cornell notes. Alright, so we can go to the next slide. Okay, so before I get started with actually analyzing questions, we're going to go back. We're going to be using Stray. Everybody remember Stray, right?
Yes.
Alright, so we're going to go back and we're going to just remember, Darla's going to help you figure out the story map with Stray. So we're going to go back over all the details of Stray just to make sure we're all on the same page, okay? Yeah. Alright, so who can tell me one of the characters? We'll start with the characters over here. So what's one of the characters in Stray, Jaden?
Doris.
Doris.
Little puppy.
So Doris is a little girl. Actually, I wrote that too big. And you guys don't worry about writing this down. Jasmine, there's another one.
Mr. Lacey.
Mr. Lacey. Who is Mr. Lacey?
Her dad.
Mr. Lacey is Doris's dad. Alright, what's another character? Mrs. Lacey is. Who is Mrs. Lacey?
The mom.
Mrs. Lacey is the mom. Alright, are there any more characters?
Yes.
Tabitha? The dog. Alright, so we know that we have Doris, Mr. Lacey, Mrs. Lacey, and the dog. Am I forgetting any more characters?
No.
Alright, let's go back for a second because I forgot to fill out the middle part. So what's the name of the story? So the name of the story is Stray. Okay, but who can tell me who the author of the story is?
It's
Kenan. Hold on, wait. Kenan? The author of the story. You want to call somebody? Cynthia who? Yes. So this, the author of the story is Cynthia. Is it Ryland?
Yes.
Cynthia Ryland. All right. So who can tell me the setting of the story? So where is this story taking place?
At home.
At home? In someone's house? In January. Okay. So we got quite a few settings happening. So we have it taking place, and whose home is it taking place in?
Mr. Lacy.
Doris's house.
I guess Mr. and Mrs. Lacy. Yeah, so, Mr. and Mrs. Lacy's house.
Outside. The snow.
Oh, yes,
the
snow.
Shoveling snow.
So outside in the snow.
She might be in the cabin. What? In the town.
So it took place outside, it took place in their house, are we forgetting any other places? In the shelter. So just keep in mind that the dog pound and the shelter are the same place that we're talking about. So I'll write it here, the shelter, and I'll put in parentheses that we're also talking about the pound.
In the basement.
And the basement, how did we forget the basement?
That way you like it.
Kitchen.
I guess the kitchen, we can put all of that under the house.
Yeah.
Okay, so, what's the major problem in Stray?
That
Hold on, somebody raise their hands, Larry.
Doris' parents don't want her to keep it.
So Dora's parents don't want her to keep the dog. Okay, so Doris's parents don't want to keep that dog. So how did the characters in the story try to solve the problem, Precious?
Okay, so Doris tried to make her mother and make her let her keep the dog.
So Doris tried.
their mind.
So one way was that Doris tried to convince her parents.
Oh.
Was there any other ways that she tried to convince them? Jade.
Her daddy, when her dad came back from town, she said, oh, I can't put the, he said, well, I can't put the dog in that pound because it's like a little ant living there.
So another reason why the problem was solved was because the dog pound was so dirty. All right, give me 1 second.
Y'all got it on day.
All right, and I'll take one more. Who said they had the third one? Oh, Mariah. Hold on, wait. I want to hear Mariah.
Horrifying.
Say it one more time.
Horrifying.
Horrifying? Oh, the dog pound was horrifying? Okay, so we have those different ways about how the character tried to solve the problem. Okay, but what was the solution? How did the story end? Yes, they ended up keeping the dog. Alright, so in the story Stray, we had our main characters who were Doris, the dog, Mr. Lacy, and Mrs. Lacy. The setting of it had quite a few different settings. Had Mr. Lacy and Mrs. Lacy's house, they had it outside, the shelter, also known as the dog pound, and the basement where the dog was staying. The main problem in the story was that Doris's parents wouldn't let her keep the dog, but she found some ways to try to solve that problem by convincing her parents to let her keep the dog. And one major thing was that the dog pound was dirty / horrifying, and her parents did not want them to stay in there at all. So as a result of that, Doris ended up ended up being able to keep the dog. You guys have any questions about the story map?
No, sir. No.
Okay.
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
I have one question.
What's your question?
We have a story about that means
I can't hear Jaden asking his question.
we have a story. Wait a minute.
Keep talking, honey.
You got to answer the question. My question was, if we have a story map and can we do it while reading the story, or we have to use it after?
No, you can do it while you're reading the story. So the story map, remember the plot diagrams that y'all used to do? Okay, so the plot diagrams and the story maps are essentially the same thing, you're just doing it in a different way. So while the plot diagrams use lines, the story map just uses it all in different blocks and stuff. So it's the same thing, so the same way you can fill out a plot diagram while you're reading the story, you can also fill out a story map while you're reading the story.
Where's she going?
Alright, so now I want you guys to go ahead and take out your Cornell notes, or if you already have them open. The essential question that I want you guys to write down is, what are the types of questions normally asked after reading the story, and what do they mean? And I'll give you guys a few seconds to write that down. Yeah, write the whole thing. Everybody have the essential question now?
No.
Alright, I'll give you about 30 more seconds. Alright, everybody got the essential question? Alright, 10 more seconds for my nose. Is it working? Alright, we can go to the next slide. Who, raise your hand if you don't have it yet. Okay.